Hello, hello, hello. All right, this is a dog psychology behavior and training masterclass. This class is for you if you have a reactive, aggressive, and/or anxious dog. You've tried positive reinforcement, force-free, rewards-based, and/or like balanced training styles and were dissatisfied with the results or lack thereof. You've worked with anywhere from 1 to 4 dog trainers in the past to try and get control of this issue. You're looking for a solution now to stopping your dog's unwanted behavior and helping them feel better about the world. And you want to understand how your dog's brain and body works together as like a canine, as a different species, so that you can do all of this holistically. And who am I? I'm Janna, a dog mom who became a dog behaviorist after spending thousands of dollars and wasting hundreds of hours on training my reactive, aggressive, and anxious dog before I figured out what actually worked to get control of her behavior and rehabilitate her attitude and mindset so that she actually felt better and overall had a healthier, more calmer, neutral outlook on the world. Now she's a service dog, and I help dog moms all over the world understand and stop their dog's difficult behavior and rehabilitate those dogs into happier, calmer, well-behaved pets in my foundation's do-it-yourself board and train program designed for difficult dogs and service dogs in training. This is a 3-part masterclass series covering dog psychology, behavior, and dog training. Each training is going to be about 20 minutes to summarize the topics. And in today's training, we're going to discuss dog psychology. You can check out the other trainings on my YouTube channel or find them in my email newsletter. So I like to break dog psychology down into a few big buckets: early canine development, early puppyhood development, nervous system stability, associations versus memory, a canine hierarchy of needs, and then natural pack dynamics. So with the hierarchy of needs, it looks just like Maslow's hierarchy of needs for humans. And the reason that most dog training efforts fail, like obedience training and your like basic socialization efforts, the reason that you're here is because obedience training and socialization truly are like advanced skills for a dog, okay? They are at the top of the hierarchy of needs in environmental training and in like breed enrichment, work, existential needs fulfillment, right? The 3 layers, though, that are needed to be successful in socialization and like existential fulfillment, breed fulfillment, work, obedience, sports, all of that with a dog is this rock solid foundation. Your foundation is made up of your biological requirements, the dog's emotional regulation, and then your pack dynamics. Within this base is everything that most people, most owners are lacking with their dogs to actually be successful in socialization and obedience training or dog sport types of environments. Right? So if you've ever tried to do obedience training and you've like gone into these environments and your dog like is all over the place and they can't focus and all of it, like they're good dogs, but like they get all jacked up in these spaces and they're barking a ton or they're whining a ton and they're super anxious and panty and just like all over the place. And it's just like a totally different dog. Well, that is because those environments are not meant for dogs that don't have strong foundations. You really do need this rock solid foundation to be successful. And without these tiers fulfilled, dogs are going to be stuck in this hyper trigger, adrenalized, high cortisol state of mind, stuck in survival mode in the modern human world until that's addressed, basically. This is instinctive. A dog's nervous system, just like humans, is installed in them to keep them safe. And when their hierarchy of needs is not being met, when they do not feel emotionally safe, when they don't have a pack, right? Being a pack animal, they don't have a pack that they feel deeply connected to, that they can feel safe and secure in, when they don't know where all of their biological needs are being met, right? You have a dysregulated dog with a nervous system that's stuck on and can't shift into their parasympathetic state. They're just so dysregulated at all 3 of these foundational levels. So understanding the hierarchy of needs is the first step. The next step is to understand like your early puppyhood, early canine development. So dogs go through several developmental stages, and they go through them really quickly. They go through neonatal and transitional stages between 0 to 4 weeks with their biological mother. Between 4 to 12 weeks, they go through another socialization period where they start to build critical associations about the world based on their interactions with it to that point. And anything that they have as like a novel or sensational experience, that's going to get like programmed into their nervous system as like a default operating system. Between 12 weeks and about 6 months, dogs go through this next stage of development where they build a strong awareness about the social hierarchy, and they start ranking the different animals in their pack to determine who is responsible for the pack. Where does the food come from? Where does the water come from? Who makes decisions on who controls what? Dogs need to understand this, and they figure that out really early in their life, between 12 weeks and 6 months old. By the time a dog is 6 months old, they start testing the boundaries of the pack based on that understanding of the social hierarchy and their experiences that they've had with the world to this point, right? The early puppyhood development period. Based on socialization, based on the things that they've engaged with, based on how those experiences were programmed into their default operating system, and then based on their understanding of the pack hierarchy and who controls what within the pack, movement, space, resources, choices, etc. Right? Dogs start to put that knowledge to the test. They want to make sure that it's true. They need to validate it. They're getting older. They're turning into adult dogs, and they need to understand how the world works. So they're going to start figuring that out. And as they test those boundaries and validate that information that they gathered as puppies, they're going to develop confidence, right? Because it either works or it doesn't work. And they're going to get more feedback, and they're going to build confidence in what works best for them to get things that they want and access things that they need. So after a dog is 18 months old, they're considered fully mature adults. They have full bone and joint formation. This is when, if you are going to do any like high impact sports or movement with your dog, you would want to wait until 18 months, like for running, agility. And once the dog is 18 plus months, this is when you can get into like your dog sports and all of the high impact activities, and it's safe for them because their bones and joints are fully formed at that point. So all dogs go through this early developmental period between when they're born, 0 weeks old, and then 18 months. So all dogs go through this early canine development timeline. And whether your dog came home from a breeder or you got them from a rescue, between 4 and 12 weeks, it's up to, if your dog comes home from a breeder, for a breeder to socialize the puppy and for the puppy to spend a lot of time with the mother dog. And ideally, the mother dog is a balanced dog herself. So the puppy is being raised and socialized by its mother dog, and then by the breeder themselves intervening to make sure that these puppies, between the time that they're born and then they go home to you, that they are having really healthy experiences and interactions with the world around them, so that they build healthy neutral associations in their nervous system, in their default operating system. So in the future, when they get exposed to these different, we'll call them triggers or stimuli, whatever you prefer, the dog knows what to do with that information because it has a neutral association already built with that thing from its experience in this 4 to 12 week window. So all dogs go through this early canine development timeline, right? Starting at 0 weeks through 18 months. And in this time, right, like I said, they're going to be learning the social hierarchy. Within the social hierarchy, going into the natural pack dynamics, which all dogs naturally, instinctively understand because they're pack animals. There are 3 specific pack positions that dogs naturally are given. The mother dog is always going to be like the leader of the pack as far as the puppies are concerned. The leader of the pack leader, front of the pack position is usually a breeding pair, and it's always including a mother dog. Her job includes protecting and providing for puppies and assigning jobs. She's going to be the most aloof of all of the dogs in the pack because she has like the biggest job to do. That's a heavy load that she carries. Not only is she creating life, nurturing that life, she's also protecting that life. So she isn't overwhelmingly warm and friendly. She's not cold, but she is very aloof, right? She's never really seeking attention. She's really just there doing her thing, raising her puppies, focused on her job. Within the breeding pair, the father dog is considered an alpha beta. He's not necessarily a pack leader, but he's not in the front of the pack. He is a helper dog to the mother dog who is focused on raising the puppies, right? The father dog is supportive to the mother dog, who ultimately, if mother dog decides that father dog's not allowed to have access to puppies, father dog doesn't get access to puppies, kind of thing. So that's why they're not exactly equals, but they're similar. She protects and provides for puppies, and he provides and protects for her, right? Together, they are the pack leaders and they provide for the rest of the pack. The next two really significant pack positions, you have your middle of the pack. This is often referred to as like your happy-go-lucky dogs. They really don't have a care in the world because their mother dog or their father dog, the pack leaders, are taking care of and making decisions for the rest of the pack. So they really don't have to worry about anything. They are overall helper dogs, though. They're going to like help support and raise any puppies that are involved. And they are very confident in general because they have nothing to worry about. And therefore, they're pretty easy to correct. The back of the pack, though, the last really significant pack position, this is going to be like an alerty guard dog type of dog. Not like a guardian breed dog, but a dog who feels responsible for like watching the back of the pack, like checking to see if anyone's back there and alerting the front of the pack so that they can do something about it. So they're going to be responsible for covering the pack's back and letting the pack leaders know of any danger. They are, though, going to be the most submissive dogs in your pack. They really do just like keep light energy. They're super soft. They're super sensitive. And overall, a dog's position in the pack is assigned super early by the mother dog, and it's maintained by the rest of the pack. As the dog matures and goes through its developmental timeline, right, it's going to learn its position in the pack from the other dogs, the older dogs and its pack leaders, and then it's going to like test and validate that position as it gets 6 months to 18 months. And provided that information it gets when it's validating and testing what it knows, right, and what position it's been assigned, that's going to be its like default after 18 months until otherwise, like you have to intervene to change that at that point. So I'll say too, if you're in a multi-dog home, it's worth knowing that dogs, right, there's only 3 positions, but you can have multiple dogs at each tier. And when that happens, you're going to have natural hierarchy challenges and conflicts within each tier. So like middle of the pack dogs can have dominance conflicts, right, as they try to maintain the status quo. And same goes with the back of the pack, within the back of the pack dogs, and or dogs that are competing for the front of the pack leader roles. So the more dogs you have, the more problems you have at each layer of your pack, and it's up to you to understand how the pack operates and that natural pack balance and how to maintain it through this process. Piling on to the complexity of this, we have to also examine not just what are the dynamics of intra-pack relationships, but inner pack relationships. So other packs, right? So I have a pack of dogs and like my neighbor has a dog kind of thing. We are two separate packs. And when we look at wolf behavior, which is, right, dogs are descendant from the gray wolf. When we look at how wild pack animals congregate and migrate together and exist as packs, in relation to other packs, we see actually a lot of respect and territorialness, right? We don't have packs hanging out with each other. Like nowhere in the wild are you going to see a dog park and a bunch of wild wolves hanging out in it, right? Like that's not what's going to happen, because in the wild, dogs are very respectful of each other's territory, right? And so we want to keep all of this in mind when it comes to natural pack dynamics. Do we have our pack hierarchy in order? Do we have natural pack behavior, like social behavior occurring in the pack? Are we doing natural pack things like migrating as a pack? Are we pack walking, for example, structured walking? Savannah, go back to place. We have to keep this in perspective. We are conditioned by emotionally driven pet consumer marketing to engage in extremely non-natural pack behavior. Dog parks, doggy daycares, letting dogs drag us around on leashes, bribing dogs to pay attention or to behave in exchange for like food, right? Like getting them all amped up, letting them play with each other, dogs from different packs, having them say hi to strangers. Like we engage in some seriously non-natural pack behavior. And then we ask ourselves, why are our dogs so poorly behaved? Why is my dog's attitude so bad? Why is my dog so anxious? Why is my dog aggressive? Why is my dog reactive? Well, we have not been living with our dogs in a way that would indicate to them that they are in safe, emotionally stable environments that they can ultimately feel calm and comfortable in. They're on edge 24/7 because we are engaging in non-natural canine activities with them and triggering their nervous system into this state of dysregulation and imbalance. So going to the next level, thinking about associations and feelings versus memory. So associations are conditional relationships between things, activities, and a specific feeling. So dogs ultimately see a thing, right, or something happens, and then they immediately feel like one of 5 different emotions: excitement or joy, love and affection, fear, danger, anger, and then surrender. And dogs don't have episodic memory. So when things happen, it's not like they have PTSD and they have like a flashback to something that happened to them before. It's not like that. No, instead, their nervous system just stores trauma as these emotional associations, like dogs or humans equals excitement or threat. Like dog equals good or dog equals bad, dog equals yes or dog equals no. And their automatic, like I talked about earlier, their default operating system, their automatic default responses to stimuli dictate these emotions that they feel. Ultimately, these emotions that they feel are what cause their behavior. So this is where this particular training ends today. We will pick up in our next training discussing dog behavior, which is a result of this nervous system instability, this nervous system dysregulation, because we're not living with our dogs in a way that fulfills their canine hierarchy of needs properly. Just like when a human is not fulfilling their hierarchy of needs, if you stop getting enough sleep, you're going to have cognitive impairment, mood instability, gastrointestinal issues, right? You're going to be reactive. You're going to be a little bit out of control. You're going to feel a little crazy. And that's exactly how our dogs feel when we are ignorant to or negligent of the canine hierarchy of needs. Those those nervous system responses are what triggers behavior, right? Behavior doesn't just happen in a vacuum with your dog. Behavior happens as a result of this nervous system response, this emotional triggering, right? Then something happening and there being an association built into your dog's default operating system that says, when this thing happens, I feel this and I need to do that. So we'll talk about behavior, dog behavior in depth in the next training. And if you know you'd like my help getting control of your dog's difficult behavior inside Foundations using REST, my proven proprietary holistic approach to dog training based in dog psychology and pack leadership using balanced communication, go ahead and click the link in the description of this video. There's also links in my email newsletters, and I'll see you inside Foundations when you're ready to get started. Otherwise, though, I will see you in the next training.